It's a Women's Day, so we thought of getting you, special women in the market who have been around for long. Another such person is joining us today, Amisha Vora of Prabhudas Lilladher. Amisha, thank you very much for your time and happy Women's Day. Let's start by understanding, Amisha, how long you've been in the market now. I've been interacting with you almost for 11, 12 years. One of the very few women who've been consistently been around and only going higher in leadership. Talk to us about your experience as being a woman in the market.
Thank you, and I wish you all the women viewers a very happy International Women's Day. So since how many years I've been around in the market? So by the time I was 21, I completed my professional degree of Chartered Accountancy and then started in the research side of the markets. So it's almost been the journey of almost 27 years now, 28 years in the markets.
27 years. 27 years, that's very impressive, I must say, and inspiring for people like me who've been like, I guess, 1/4 of that time.
In fact, Mubina, you're also a chartered accountant, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. But I hope, Misha, that people like you who've been around for so long actually inspire more women to come around in the financial services, because Ajay, it's very underrepresented, out of about a pool of 300 fund managers, we just have about 20 odd fund managers who are women, and they do outperform the peers, I must add that as well. Amisha, let's talk business then. Let's just get down to business. All the fears that have been in relation to the domestic markets have now been amplified with all the risks in the global markets, and I'm talking more specifically about Trump's tariff tantrums, if I can call it that. It's adding on to the sort of risks we are seeing in the markets. Globally as well, we have seen a sell-off coming by because of that. So at this point of time, with all these fears lingering on us, what should one's stance be in the markets?
I think that the broader markets have corrected by almost close to 10%. But if you see in terms of specific stocks, even in large cap, the correction is 15-17%. But in mid and small caps, the correction has been as much as 25-30%. So at once, I feel that the correction is very well reflected and capturing a good amount of uncertainty, largely created by the debt side problems of the market and little macroeconomic uncertainty in terms of interest rate outlook, as also in terms of fiscal deficit or GST collection outlook, etc. But the underlying fact remains that the recent GDP growth numbers were good. Then if you see the auto numbers, they've been coming out really well. I also feel that in this budget, almost 35 to 40 items had increased in import duty, as also before that also there has been continuously time and again some or other anti-dumping duty. So the manufacturing sector will also come out well. So I am not bearish in the market. I do believe, and I used to believe, that the valuations were too high. And while the earnings growth will come, the derating will happen. And overall, it will not be a great year to make money, but it will be a good year to invest, because last year would have been even more difficult to invest because the valuations were crazy. This year will throw opportunities to pick up good investments again.
Amisha, okay, let me get back to a little basic, question. Nifty has connected about 9% from the recent highs. Mid caps 25-30%, depending which stock we are talking about. You've been around so long, you've been seeing cycles. Is it time to start deploying money, at least in select names, or is there a possibility for a deeper 15-20% cut or 10 to 15% cut further from here on? What are your thoughts? Is it giving you comfort to now coming back and deploying money?
It's like this, that select stocks would have come to attractive levels. So 30-40% of the amount that I want to invest, I will definitely invest even at this level. But I do caution that this year will be the year of consolidation. It's not whether Nifty will go down from 10,000 to 9,400 or it will remain at 9,800 and between 11,000 and pass the year. These are some of the possibilities. Making new highs are limited in terms of probability. The probability is limited because by the time we go to second half, we will start probably seeing some election worries seeping in. So the upside to some extent will be capped. At the same time, downside is capped because I think with the two back-to-back very good monsoon and a very low base created because of two large-scale reforms of demonetization and GST, the earnings base, the production base, the whole base is very low. So the growth will look very good. Earnings momentum will start coming in, but the upside will cap both because of the valuations as well as uncertainty of the election, etc. So I think it will be a very range-bound year for the market, and stock picking and being on the right stock will make a lot of difference to the portfolios.
Okay. Amisha, what's your view on corporate earnings? Q3, of course, was expected to be good because we had the demonetization in base, but still we hear bits and murmurs saying that it could have perhaps been a bit better. So, what's your view on Q3, and how do you see Q4 shaping up? And will FY19 finally be the year when we'll finally see growth come into at least the mid-teens for the Nifty earnings?
See, particularly Nifty earnings, when we bifurcate, two important thing has been suppressing Nifty growth, Nifty earnings growth. The commodity cycle, whether played out by oil and oil related profit, or at times the commodity cycle in steel and aluminium. The other important factor which has been suppressing the earnings growth has been the provisioning in the banking sector. So be it private sector bank, except the HDFCs and Kotak, and the public sector bank within the Nifty, the provisioning has been so high that the whole earnings overall growth looks very muted. Now the key call here remains, are we at the, and rest of these two sectors, the earning growth momentum has still been very good. And particularly when you take a little larger universe out of the Nifty 50, where the impact of these two sectors is limited, the earnings growth momentum has been reasonably very good. So the key call for FY19 earnings, when we see our projections also, is that analysts have assumed that the provisioning absolute number and as a percentage of profits is flattening out. So the earnings growth in banks lending as well as at operating level starts reflecting in bottom line. If this comes true, then we are heading towards a good 16-17% Nifty earnings growth, and to large extent I do believe that this will be coming true despite the recent sentiment hurter and of course earnings hurter case which happened in PNB. I think that we are on course to achieve that 17-18% kind of a earnings growth.
Well, that is good news to all the investors and traders sitting out there. Probably hopes of earnings recovery this time for sure may also cushion the fall which we are seeing in the market. Who knows? Thank you very much, Amisha, for joining us on the show. Always wonderful to chat with you.